Why do you think my 23F long-term partner, 25M, walked away from our seemingly perfect relationship? Hi people of Reddit, I, 23F, was hoping you all could help me gain some clarity about some things that recently happened with my ex-boyfriend, 25M. We were together for 4 years. Honestly, the entire relationship was bliss. For example, we never fought, we could bring up issues without fear of an argument. We never got on each other's nerves, and even if we did, we would have told each other. We made each other laugh like no one else could. We shared the same interests and hobbies. We supported each other in our careers. We work in the same industry, tech, but I recently accepted a role that was a higher rank than his. Side note, I think this may have created some resentment because he has more experience than me. He has a degree and I don't, and I earn more than him despite not having any of those things. But I don't think he's the kind of person to let this bother him. We trusted each other fully. We could rely on each other for absolutely anything. We had great sex. He always said I was great in bed and that I knew exactly how to please him. His friends adored me, and mine adored him. We are both equally as physically attractive. We told each other everything. There was no topic of conversation that was off limits and absolutely no judgment whatsoever. We moved in together for 2 years and had the best time. Although he moved out after we broke up, we'd have sleepovers all the time and were even intimate now and then. We traveled together and never went a day without having fun. We both knew each other inside and out. People would tease us saying we were so in love it was disgusting. He said I was the textbook example of this type: short, blonde, petite and fair-skinned. We took up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu together and shared a passion for fitness. We had a bond that felt so rare. We could be ourselves with each other. He'd take shits while I was in the shower and we'd just talk about how our days were. We had all sorts of nicknames for each other, the main one being Goose. This is relevant later. However, we broke up at the beginning of this year because I was doing a solo trip abroad for 2 months. I made it clear that I was not interested in sleeping around overseas, and I didn't. I honestly wasn't involved with anyone because I still loved him and knew he was the one I wanted. It was very amicable and we agreed we still have so much love for each other. Before I left and we were broken up, we'd hang out all the time. While I was away we spoke every day. I came back, and shit was weird. He picked me up from the airport with my family. He would hang out with me all the time but something just seemed off. His words didn't match his actions. One night he took me on a date and said he'd stay the night at my place when we got home, but then changed his mind at the last minute and left abruptly. He said he wasn't ready to get back together, which I respected, but would still go out of his way to see me. He'd tease me about my new secret boyfriend after finding a second toothbrush in my bathroom. It was actually his that I kept here for when he'd stay over. A few weeks ago he invited me to his family's beach house for Christmas. My birthday was 2 weeks ago and he absolutely spoiled me. We talked every day and it almost felt like we were in our previous relationship without the label. This dynamic went on for a few months until a few nights ago, when he came over, bought me dinner and then explained to me that he wasn't in love anymore and wanted to find himself, gain perspective and experience new things. He said he felt confused and that he'd been trying to end this for months, but could never bring himself to do it. I wasn't entirely surprised, but I was and still am confused about why he would have strung me along if he knew he wanted to be single. He told me he still loved me so much. He says I'll always be his goose, which fucking stung because I felt like he was just saying that to soften the blow. He admitted that he didn't want to feel held back by me if he met someone else he clicked with. He said he didn't want me to influence his decisions about his future, which I don't really understand, because I have never held him back from doing anything he wanted. I never pressured him into doing anything he wasn't keen on. I gave him my full support, always. He said some confusing things, like, "I'll probably marry you someday. We might get back together in the future, and I don't think I'll find what we had with anyone else." But in the same breath said I wasn't what he wanted. I was also confused because I was absolutely broken by this conversation. I was in tears the whole time, but he had a straight face. When I asked him why he wasn't upset, he said he was, and that he'd cried over me while I was gone. I had no idea he felt so upset by me going traveling. Every time we FaceTimed, he seemed perfectly happy and normal. He never once mentioned that he was sad, and we always told each other everything. I don't understand what changed or what went wrong. We always said our relationship was perfect. I'm not just saying this to make myself feel better, but we both got so much fulfillment out of being together. We were best friends. We treated each other like royalty. We never argued, we never acted toxic towards one another, and had amazing chemistry and similar ambitions. At the end of our conversation, I asked if I did anything wrong. If there was anything about me that wasn't making him happy. And he said, "You're absolutely perfect." I also brought up the fact that I didn't want to be his backup plan, someone he came back to in the event that he couldn't find our connection with someone else. He responded, "You're plan A. If I'm plan A, why walk away?" So, hopefully from a male perspective, what are your thoughts on this? I've obviously asked for advice from my female friends, but I understand guys see things differently. Have you ever been in the same situation with someone? How did it go? I'd like to emphasize that I don't expect him to come back. I respect his decision and have stopped talking to him even though it kills me. I guess I'm looking for understanding and closure. I think I'll struggle to trust anyone I have relationships with now, because I'll always be scared of them changing their minds about me like he did. I appreciate every piece of insight you can provide here, even if it stings. Thank you. TLDR, long-term relationship ended weirdly and I'm trying to understand what is and what was going through his mind. Let him go. You are plan A. You are plan B. If you were plan A, he would stay with you. There is nothing confusing. He probably is going through something and instead of actually talking to you, he decided to hold it in. Maybe you didn't know him as well as you thought you did. Maybe he has a secret he can't tell you. I feel that is more than likely the case. I know you love him, but if it's right, he will choose you first. I don't ever recommend anyone waiting around. It's painful and unnecessary. If he comes back, great. If he doesn't, oh well. Yes. I've accepted that perhaps the price of finding himself is losing me. I'm definitely not going to wait around for him. Hopefully there is someone else out there for me. I think he's met somebody else, which is why he didn't spend the night. I also think he's not very interested in getting back together. Yes. He cheated and got involved with someone while she was gone. He didn't want to cheat on his new GF by being with her. Just read the infidelity forums. People fall in love with the new person really quickly. Classic signs that he's cheating. He's too gutless to tell her. What do you want to bet that he'll suddenly have a new GF right away? His message was confusing as hell. You're plan A and I'll probably marry you someday, but I'm leaving you. What? It hurts, but please don't wait around for him. Focus your energy and love on you and surround yourself with a good support system. Yes, it's actually quite annoying. I would prefer him to just be direct and tell me we're done for good than give me false hope. If he ever realizes he made a mistake, I hope I'll have moved on by then. When I left my ex-husband, he said he could not imagine why I would want to end the relationship. And that was because every one of his needs were met, and so he would never end a relationship which was so good for him. Thing is, nearly none of my needs were met. And I vocalized the things I needed, repeatedly. I communicated, he just didn't do them. I had to lay out for him in black and white all the issues where my needs weren't being met, and how many times we had argued about it, before he was like, oh. So what you see your relationship as, and what he sees it as, are likely different. For instance, you may see just that you never fought, but he may have felt afraid to disagree due to a particular incident. You think you're equally attractive, but attractiveness is subjective. You know you told him everything, but clearly he didn't tell you everything. Your perspective that the relationship was perfect for you doesn't mean he had the same experience.